I've got a question and a challenge for you today. And the question is, in supply chain diversity, if it were a movie, what genre of movie would it be? Would it be a mystery? Because I don't know what's going to happen next. Would it be fantasy? Because this does not, it can't happen. Is it a thriller? Because the moment I think I'm on top of it, that I get the call that this person is backed out, and then the criteria is raised and the contract's not right. And is it that? Is it science fiction? Because this can only happen on a completely different world. Is it a drama like someone said earlier? Because man, it's one thing after another. Or is it action? Because there's no snooze button in procurement. So, since you're the experts, and since you're made of tough material, I thought I'd ask you that question right now. Who here would just raise your hand and just let me know, what is the genre of this movie? Yes. Okay, what's your name? Hey, Jim, focus it down from everything to something else. Just give me one. Why a drama? Because you never know what's going to happen. Okay, thank you. Who else? Sharon. Okay, so Sharon is making up a completely new genre, okay? Which doesn't surprise us. I saw another hand here. Yes. Okay, what's your name? Leanne. Thank you, Leanne. Is there one more? Yes. Ooh, every day is a mystery. And your name? Barb. It's good to meet you in person, Barb. I've seen you on Zoom. Well, what if I told you that your supply chain is running on a script written 30 years ago? Same characters, same roles, same outcomes. And like any old movie, just like this one called Modern Times with Charlie Chaplin back in 36, it's no longer winning at the box office. I've spent my career building experience systems. Not just interfaces, but ecosystems where people and technology and business intersect. And what I've learned is this: transformations don't fail because of strategy. They fail because we don't change the story that people are operating from. Much like Charlie Chaplin here, who believes that because his small wrench has saved them on small projects before, that wrench is going to be the answer to this big machine he's trying to fix, in what he views back then as the entrance into modern times. I got news for you. Supply chain and the diversity of it are operating on the wrong story. Supply chain management was built on efficiency, not inclusion, not innovation, not resilience. We are still, you know that we are, trying to leverage a linear thinking in a very networked world. It doesn't work. We are still focusing on cost in a value economy. Supply chain is a machine and it has worked until it doesn't. And there's some global headwinds. The pandemic, as Shan mentioned earlier, was a reality point for supply chain management. We realized it was not flexible enough if we had a global catastrophe. And even though that was years ago, right now, or geopolitics and wars everywhere and ceasefires, yes or no, are creating this very big seismic disruption to all of our lives. And I just wonder, since you're tough-minded people who get it done, wouldn't it be interesting if we would push back with the same seismic effort and rewrite the script? We've got to rewrite the script. We've got to cast new roles, and we have to be brave enough, proud enough, with our chins up and our chest out to premiere a brand new supply chain diversity blockbuster. And I just want to talk to you about 3 things that can help us get there. Let's talk about the rewrite. In this rewrite, we've got 3 narratives. The first is that cost needs to shift to value. If cost does not shift to value, you're not changing the story. Procurement is no longer just a cost center, it's a growth engine. The second is that you have to shift from linear to network. And if for no other reason, then we're working with the wrong term. Supply chain doesn't exist. There is no chain. It's a living, breathing network that's ever expanding. And then we have to introduce something that might be a little scary for some folk. We've got to shift from human only to AI and human. And this is not in replacement of humans. This is to make sure that the decision-making process, the speed of which we have intelligence to make decisions, is elevated. And this is not theory only. We've got analysts in the marketplace that are telling us this, that these 3 columns are important. McKinsey is saying companies in the top quartile for diversity are 36% more likely to have outperform financially. That's incredible. If I want to outperform my peers by a third, I need to be more diverse. That seems like something I should shoot for. Gartner says AI-enabled procurement is no longer just an advantage, it's a necessity, it's table stakes. If you don't have that in your procurement in the next 18 months, you are behind. Forrester says that ecosystem-driven companies outperform in innovation and speed, and I'm going to prove that Forrester was right. Diversity is not charity, it's a strategy. And you're going to see when we take a look at some of the examples. Amazon. Now, you know that Amazon is the behemoth. It's one of the largest hubs of procurement, demand, sales, and delivery globally. But that growth, that size, is not just size, it's intelligent scale. What they have intentionally done is they have said, we're going to take AI and we're going to use AI to anticipate demand before it happens so that we're prepared. We're going to pull in the right suppliers, we're going to pull in the right products at the right time. And then they use dynamic AI-driven routing to reduce disruption risks. And they're always updating their ecosystem of suppliers. This is a constant, this is within the culture of Amazon right now. This is from the C-suite all the way down. It's their way of working. It's not a program that they're adopting. And they're not alone. They've used AI to push this, but Nike has circled around the idea of having an ecosystem, not a company, not a hierarchy. And what they've done is they've digitally connected all their supplier network. So we were all suppliers, we were all connected. And guess what? I can connect with you, I can connect with you, and I can connect with you if I need something, and you can do that for me as well. And Nike finds that they now benefit from the collaboration because we're all digitally connected. What that does is it provides faster prototyping and manufacturing cycles. And they also have greater inclusion of specialty suppliers. Here are two companies, just two of a number of companies, who have said not just a program, but a strategy, a goal for our enterprise is going to include diversity, it's going to include value over cost, and it's going to include AI integrated into our systems. But I'll tell you that even though I'm suggesting to rewrite the narrative, you can have the best script you want. If you don't have the right actors, it's not going to work for you. The movie will fall flat. And so I'm suggesting that there are three roles that we'll need to fill. It's the same company, but completely different cast. And here's what I mean. We've got the procurement leader, who is now our executive producer. And with reason. They are not going to be focused on cost so much as they are going to be the value architect. They are going to own the ecosystem strategy, not just the spend. In fact, if given a little room, even before the rewrite, they're already attempting to do this. This removes the barrier and allows that to naturally take place. And then there is an introduction of AI as a co-director, not an owner, but a tool in the belt of the procurement team. This allows us to have decisions be guided in real time by AI insight. This allows us to make sure that we can eliminate any bias in our supplier decision making. And what I'm very excited about is that in this role, the diverse suppliers who were extras in the movie are now the lead characters. They're the ones driving innovation for us. They're co-creators of innovation. They're not just included, they are an essential part of the makeup. In the old movie, diverse suppliers were the extras. But in the new movie, they are the headliners. And with reason, you've seen the stats, the data already, that really, they increase your revenue by over a third if they are included. Well, how do we get this movie to really sing? I believe there are two production engines you need to make this new movie for supply chain diversity sing. And I'm gonna hang them on what I call my scorecard framework. I've got a larger talk about the scorecard, but I'll just skim through this very quickly. The two engines are the business engine, and the second is the human engine. The business engine uses the acronym SCORE, and the first is for sourcing strength and speed, using AI on the business end. What it would take a procurement team 2.5 to 3 months to do to sift through all of the data literally happens in 1 hour to 2 hours with AI. Now, they don't make the decisions about what to do, but they do find all the anomalies, they do find all the duplications, they do find all the errors, they do find all the things it would take a long time for a human to find, and then we have that information to make decisions on. The C is for cost efficiency. If I have taken the procurement folk who would normally be sifting through all of this and give them more human wisdom-oriented things to do, and have the AI drive all the analysis, now I've saved cost in where I place my people. The O is, for me, the most exciting of the score. It is the onboarding optimization. This, of course, again, removes the need to have procurement folk hand-holding suppliers coming into a system to onboard them, to make sure they have this and that, and make sure all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. If an AI can be an assistant to a supplier coming in, they can self-serve, and they can do all of the traditional administrative things that would be needed. The R is for risk management and reporting, identifying risk ahead of time, and then being able to provide a solution, and having reports, real-time reports on call on any of these. And the E is to expand the ecosystem of suppliers. This is the SCORE acronym, and this is AI-driven, or other emerging technologies. It can be blockchain, it can be computer vision. It does not have to be, it can be conversational AI. It can be an orchestration of those, but it's emerging technology-driven. Now, if you only did the SCORE end, you would not be successful. It would be lopsided. No business would be able to succeed in this way, though you would have made some really good improvements with your technology. But since we're not sourcing for AI, but we're sourcing for humans, since we're not onboarding AI, but we're onboarding humans and their products and their companies, since we're not expanding an ecosystem for AI, but we're doing that for humans, it makes sense that if we're going to invest in AI on the business side, that we invest in the humans. And the CARD acronym is simple, but it is essential. The first, C, for coaching. Coaching diverse suppliers when they come into your system to know how things work, what the pathways are to success, what the criteria is. So they're not just twisting in the wind, they're not in the room dark by themselves, but they literally have a coach that's helping them through, or a series of coaches who are helping them through getting in, getting onboarded. This doesn't just help them. In the end, it helps you to have a supplier who is not fighting the system within your org, but now understands how to work with it. Beyond the coaching, we've got A for advising. At some juncture, and you know this better than I do, but at some juncture in their journey, they're gonna come to critical points where they have issues, questions, or obstacles. And advising them on the right decision-making point there at those critical times is important. The R is, at some point, they're gonna learn. Ah, I see. This is how they do it. I'm gonna adjust my business, my way of delivering, my way of planning, how our team operates to fit with that. And they start to refine, and all of a sudden, the wheels become well-oiled, and all of a sudden, they're a stronger partner with you. And the D is the most important. This is developing their independence. You don't have to hand-hold with them anymore. That was good at that point. You no longer have to give advice at critical points. They've learned that. And now you can just be their partner instead of their coach, their partner instead of their advisor. And when you get to this place, that training, that advising, that refining, and that developing, you have a stellar supplier in your org. That means revenue for you going forward. So this is a way of producing. Technology scales the efficiency, so AI and emerging technologies do that, and relationships scale the capability. Again, just to reiterate, I'm gonna take generative AI, and I'm going to use that to remove the friction up front. That creates capacity for me. I take that capacity, I reinvest it back in the coaching, and the advising, and the refining, and the development, and that spins off even more revenue for me. We have, in this picture, two halves of the scorecard. The technology at work, real time, and the coaching, advising, and development happening real time. This is how you can make this movie work. If you try to do it one side and not the other, you will be as frustrated as you may be right now. At some point, we get to the place where we have to have the premiere. And this is not something that you can just roll out softly. A premiere of something like a supply chain diversity, this has to be launched. And you don't launch a movie without some trailers. You see the trailers well before you see the movie. And so in your C-suite, the vision of what needs to happen is your trailer. The entire C-suite, the chief executive officer, the chief revenue officer, the chief marketing officer, especially the COO, all of the C's and all of the associate executives have to have this trailer in their mind. They have to be sharing, hey, we're no longer going linear, we're going networked. We have included AI. It's helping us to be stronger. This is what we're going to be able to do for you. They need to be saying this to their stakeholders, to the board members, to their investors internally, to their employees within the company. They need to be publicly pushing these trailers. Otherwise, no one will know the movie is coming. And if they're going to do that, then we actually have to have the casting done. So the supplier expansion needs to take place. And the aforementioned AI and people investment needs to take place so that this is produced well. I told you up front that I had both a question and a challenge for you. I've asked you the question about the genres. And now, here's my challenge. The script is written. The cast is ready. The technology is here. And the only question that remains is, will you watch the same old tired movie? Or will you be a part of premiering the new one?